have a newscast at 6, but due to college football, it has been preempted. So for the next few minutes, we hope to keep you up to date on a big story that so many of you are talking about right now. A woman was shot and killed in her home by a Fort Worth police officer around 2 this morning. And we know a lot of you have questions, and we'd like to hear those. You can leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to get as many of them answered as we can. This happened on the south side of Fort Worth on East Allen Avenue. That is where WFAA's Eric Alvarez is live to talk us through what happened here. Eric, I know a lot of people still gathered at this home behind you.
Yeah, pretty big turnout. A lot of people want to know exactly what happened here early this morning. It happened here at this home on East Allen and Mississippi. Right now you can see friends and loved ones are here at the residence supporting one another, trying to make sense of this terrible tragedy. Now, neighbors say 28-year-old Atatiana Jefferson lived here with her 8-year-old nephew around 2:30 this morning, and neighbors saw the door open and the lights on. He called a non-emergency line asking police to come see if neighbors were okay. We're about to show you what happened next. This is the body cam footage provided by Fort Worth Police in its entirety.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Now, in that video, you never hear the police officer identify himself. He simply goes through a gate into the backyard, then sees a figure in the window, and then in a span of about 3 seconds, you saw it there, he shouts the orders, put your hands up, show me your hands, and almost immediately after, that deadly shot rings out. Now, Fort Worth police have not identified that officer, but describe him as a white man who has been with the department since April of last year. Now, remember, this all started with a call from for a welfare check from a neighbor who says police were supposed to come to make sure Jefferson was okay, not to put her in harm's way.
I explained on the call that there wasn't any violence going on, any type of arguments going on. It was simply a concern for my neighbor. I'm still kind of broken and shocked. They tell me I shouldn't feel bad, but I feel bad because had I not called the police department, she would probably still be alive today. So I do feel a little weight on me for that, making that call.
Now, the officer has been placed on administrative leave. The department says all of the evidence will be handed over to the district attorney's office to see if any criminal charges will follow. And I can tell you that is what a lot of friends, relatives, and neighbors are calling for here at this moment. They say Jefferson had every right to be inside her home and that she posed absolutely no threat to that officer. Back to you.
What's up, party people? Yeah, as y'all can see, another African American shot dead in their home for no reason. And as you can see, you can't say, oh, well, they didn't comply. The cop can't say, well, he was in fear for his life. He gave 2 orders. Show me your hands, show me your hands, pow. Now, who would be able to show their hands before he pulled that trigger? Was he really looking for her hands? Or did he just intend to shoot? And like I said, he can't say he was fearing for his life because it was a non-emergency call. So he didn't use any sirens. He didn't use any lights. He didn't knock on the door. He looked at the door, but then decided to go around the back. Now, from inside the house, you look up, you have somebody with a flashlight walking around your house, coming to the back window. Like I said, he never knocked. He never announced himself as a police officer. So as a homeowner, you just see somebody sneaking around your house. But even though she did have a firearm in the house, but it makes no difference. Once again, just like with Botham, She had every right to protect her property and her home from what, by all looks of it, could be an intruder. But unfortunately, it ain't even get that far. Show me your hands, pow. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. Because now, like, even though training, well, like, what good is training if none of the officers are absorbing the information? Like, even if you have use of force training or de-escalation training, if none of the officers are absorbing the training, then I'm not understanding. But I know you're probably curious to see how the Fort Worth police are going to handle this case. So take a look at this.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I provide an update, I'd first like to extend my sincerest sympathies to the family of Atatiana Jefferson. Her father called this shooting senseless, and I certainly have not been able to make sense of why she had to lose her life. On behalf of the men and women of the Fort Worth Police Department, I'm so sorry for what occurred. You, Atatiana's family and friends, have my apologies, my condolences, and my prayers. We received many calls from the community expressing their concerns and demands, and I assure you as chief of this department, I share those concerns and I demand a thorough, transparent, and speedy investigation. This will not be an opportunity for us to make excuses, but rather to investigate this case to the fullest, to provide the justice we all seek for Atatiana. Our officer-involved shootings are investigated by both our major case unit, which investigates the criminal aspect of the case, and our internal affairs unit, which investigates administrative policy and training violations. These investigations occur concurrently but separately. I will outline where we are with both investigations at this point. The Internal Affairs Unit responded to the scene of the shooting. Their role is to observe the on-scene investigation, but they take a backseat to the criminal investigation being conducted by the Major Case Unit. The officer who shot Atatiana was served his written administrative complaint on Sunday. At that time, he was also placed on detached duty and stripped of his badge and firearm. My intent was to meet with him today to terminate his employment with the Fort Worth Police Department. However, the officer tendered his resignation this morning before we met. Even though he no longer works for the city, we will continue the administrative investigation as if he did. The case will be completed and reviewed by the chain of command. Had the officer not resigned, I would have fired him for violations of several policies, including our use of force policy, our de-escalation policy, and unprofessional conduct. A statement to that effect will be placed within the investigation to serve as a written record of that determination. Additionally, the separation paperwork that is sent to the state licensing agency, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, will reflect that he was dishonorably discharged from employment with the Fort Worth Police Department. Now that the officer has resigned, he no longer has the protections of state civil service law. Therefore, I can now release his name. Aaron Dean, ID 4598, was the officer who responded to the call and fired the shot that killed Atatiana. He was hired by the department on August 21st, 2017, and commissioned as a licensed peace officer on April 13th, 2018. Despite his resignation, the officer still faces criminal charges from the major case investigation. I personally checked on the progress of that case repeatedly, and I anticipate a substantial update to provide you no later than tomorrow. Additionally, We have also presented a preliminary case to the FBI to review the officer's actions for possible civil rights violations. None of this information can ease the pain of Atatiana's family, but I hope it shows the community that we take these incidents seriously. We will continue to provide updates as they become available. Thank you.